Amina sat on the dusty floor with her worn out school books pressed tightly against her chest. She loved school, couldn't get enough of learning new things. The fact is, Amina had been at the top of her class all through junior high school. Her teachers had big dreams for her and always talked about how she could do great things with her education. But today was the last day of school. Amina's heart sank as she thought about what that meant. No more classes, no more studying. While the other girls chatted excitedly about their plans for senior secondary school, Amina could only listen in silence. Her dreams clashed with the harsh reality she faced at home. Her father, Musa, was a tough man with some old fashioned ideas. In his mind, a girl's place was in the house, getting married, taking care of her husband and children. No matter how much Amina pleaded or how understanding her mother Fatima tried to be, Musa was strongly against letting her continue her schooling. He just didn't see the point in spending money on a girl's education. As night fell, Amina's thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps. The door opened with a creak and Musa entered. His face looked stern as usual. He looked at Amina, his eyes resting on the books she was holding. Amina, he said, it's time you accepted your responsibilities here. There's much work to be done, and you need to learn to manage the household. Amina gazed up at him with thoughtful eyes. Baba, please give me a few more years. Let me complete secondary school. I'll work hard and help at home. I promise. Musa shook his head. Enough, Amina. I've decided. You will stay at home and learn to be a good wife and mother. That's your future. Fatima, who had listened from the corner of the hut, stepped forward. Musa, she said, perhaps we can find a way. Amina is smart and has so much promise. If she keeps studying, she'll make our family proud. Musa's expression turned firm, and he looked away to avoid any more talk on the subject. Amina felt discouraged and she knew that arguing wouldn't help. She clutched her books tighter, feeling the weight of her dreams slipping away. One day, Amina's father returned home with some news. He had decided to give Amina's hand away in marriage. He had picked a suitor, an older man from a nearby village who was rich and could support her. As a girl, your place is in the kitchen, not in school. We found a good match for you. Your wedding will happen soon, he stated. The news struck Amina like lightning. She couldn't picture a future where her desire to learn and her hopes for a different life would end because of household boundaries and early marriage. She had always seen herself at the front of a classroom, inspiring young students just as her teachers had motivated her. The idea of giving up her dreams felt too much to handle. Amina's pulse quickened. But Baba, I want to keep studying. I want to go to secondary school and learn more. I want to become a teacher and support other girls in our village, she begged, her words shaking with fear. His face became strict. No, Amina, you need to get ready for your marriage. This is the right choice for you and our family. The following days left Amina confused and sad. Her mother, Fatima, looked at her with understanding eyes, but she couldn't do much against Musa's strong determination. One night, Amina sat outside the hut when Fatima joined her. She sat next to her daughter without a word. They didn't speak for a while, their silence full of unsaid worries and wishes. At last, Fatima spoke up. Amina, my heart hurts for you. I understand your desire to learn and your dreams of a different life. Amina's eyes filled with tears as she looked at her mother. Mama, I don't want to give up my dreams. I want to make a change, not just for me, but for all the girls in our village. Fatima sighed. We'll figure something out, my child. It won't be easy, but we can't give up. Her family started the preparation for her marriage ceremony with a zeal that only made Amina feel more worried. The village women flocked to her house, creating bright clothes and fancy beadwork. Their talk was filled with joy for the big day ahead. The men got busy building a bigger place for the wedding guests. As Amina's wedding day got closer, her sadness turned into resolve. She realized that she needed to take control of her future. She couldn't stand the idea of being stuck with a stranger for life and giving up her dreams because of old customs and traditions. Every night, while resting on her mat, she dreamed of the world outside her village, a world where she could be free and learn. And the thought of running away to that world started to grow in her mind and became stronger and stronger each day. The evening before Amina's wedding, there was so much excitement in the village. It was filled with festive sounds as everyone joined in a pre wedding celebration. Amina wandered through the crowd with a fake smile. Her heart was heavy with fear about the decision she was about to make. As the party came to a close and the village fell into a quiet sleep, Amina knew the time had come. Under the cover of darkness, she packed a small bag with essentials and a bit of money. She had to get away to forge her own path, no matter the risks. Amina looked around the hut one final time, her gaze resting on her sleeping family. She felt guilty leaving them without saying goodbye, but she knew she had no other option. She took a deep breath, then crept out of the hut into the night. The village streets were quiet, except for the distant hoots of owls and the rustling of leaves. Amina moved quickly but cautiously. She couldn't afford to wake anyone or draw attention to herself. As she walked away, she felt a mixture of fear and determination. After what felt like an eternity of walking, Amina reached the edge of the village. She paused, taking one last look at the place she had called home for her whole life. Tears welled in her eyes as she thought of her mother, Fatima. The road ahead held many unknowns. Amina did not have a specific goal. The only thing that drove her was her purpose to further her education and carve out a fresh future for herself. As the sun peeked over the horizon, Amina reached the outskirts of a town she had heard travelers discuss, a place that led to the city. She hopped on one of the buses that were bound for the city. Meanwhile, back at the village, Amina's family woke up with excitement. They were ready to celebrate her wedding, but their joy changed to confusion when they couldn't find her anywhere. Fatima, Amina's mother, was the first to understand what had happened. Her daughter had escaped. When she told Musa, he became very furious. He felt embarrassed and disrespected by her daughter's choices and swore to find her and teach her a lesson for bringing disgrace to the family. Amina's potential husband walked back and forth, his face twisted with anger. He had given Musa a lot of money before the wedding and he wanted all of it back. The happy mood in the village changed. Everyone started to whisper. Amina's brave escape shocked her family. They didn't know what to do. Fatima couldn't do anything. She watched in silence as Musa gave out orders. He told the village men to look everywhere for the bride who had run away. Fatima was worried for her daughter. She knew it was dangerous for Amina to be alone out there. In the meantime, Amina got to the city at last. The size of the city left her speechless. The tall buildings and crowds of people stood in sharp contrast to her small village. The city felt like a puzzle of strange streets and unknown faces, and the noise and activity confused her. Amina's initial relief at escaping her village turned to despair as she wandered the streets, unsure of where to go or what to do. She had little to no money, no food, and no place to stay. Her situation seemed hopeless. Time passed and Amina's life got worse. She had to sleep on the streets using cardboard as her bed. To stay alive, she ate leftovers and relied on kind strangers. Every day was tough, making her body weak and testing her will to keep going. She also had the added burden of the fear that her father might come to the city, take her back to the village, and punish her for disobeying him. Despite the challenges, Amina kept her eyes on the prize. She roamed the city each day searching for jobs or a roof over her head. She stopped by schools in the area hoping to find a sympathetic ear and a helping hand. But the city's cold shoulder was as brutal as the hot African sun. She got turned down and doors slammed in her face day after day, yet she refused to give up. One day, as Amina sat on a bench in a small park, a woman came up to her. She had been watching Amina for some time. She sat next to her and gave her a water bottle. "You seem like you need help," she said. Amina nodded as tears filled her eyes. "I have no place to go. I left my home to avoid a forced marriage. I want to go to school and learn, but I'm not sure how," she said with a shaky voice. The woman, who said her name was Miriam, listened to Amina's story with kindness. She had faced a similar challenge when she came to the city with dreams and was hit with the reality of the unforgiving nature of the city. "Come with me," she said. "I know a place where you can stay, and maybe we can find a way to help you with your education." Miriam led Amina to a shelter for young girls who had been displaced or were in difficult situations. The shelter, run by a group of compassionate volunteers, provided not just a place to sleep and regular meals, but also educational programs and support for those wanting to continue their studies. Amina's time at the shelter contrasted with her earlier weeks of hardship. She now had a secure place to rest, healthy food, and basic necessities. The volunteers assisted her to enroll in a nearby secondary school, and she started attending classes. But there was always a fear in her heart that her father, Musa, might find her one day and take her back to the village. Every morning, Amina headed to school with determination. She spent her evenings studying diligently, knowing that every moment spent learning was a step closer to her dreams. One afternoon, Amina was making her way back to the shelter when she heard quick footsteps behind her. Her heart skipped a beat as she turned around and saw Musa, her father. Musa grabbed her by the hand and started pulling Amina along. He was angry. "I'm taking you back to the village," he barked. "We are going to get married. No more of this running away nonsense. You've brought shame on our family." Amina began to scream and beg her father, but Musa ignored her pleas. He kept pulling her away, set on forcing her back to the life he had chosen for her. He tried to push her into a waiting taxi, which resulted in a lot of disturbance. The disturbance caught the attention of a police officer who was working nearby. He quickly intervened, and Amina explained that her father was trying to force her to return to the village and marry her off against her will. The officer's expression hardened, and he promptly arrested Musa, informing him that such actions were against the law, especially when it came to a minor. With Musa in custody, the police officer returned Amina to the shelter. Amina felt so relieved and thankful for another chance. Right then, Amina promised to make the best of this chance, to chase her dreams and never let anyone take them away from her. Time went by and Amina turned her dream into reality. She became a teacher and began working in the city. But even with her accomplishments, she couldn't shake off the thoughts of the girls in her village who still had no chance to learn. This led her to go back to the village. She returned to her village not as the girl who had fled in the night, but as a confident young woman with a goal to achieve. With Miriam's help and backing from other supporters, Amina started a foundation. The aim of the foundation was to teach the villagers about the importance of education for both boys and girls. She wanted to make sure that no girl in her village would ever have to face the same struggles she had endured. Amina's story became a testament to the power of education, resilience, and the unwavering pursuit of one's dream. Her journey from a small village to the vast city and back again inspired many. She proved that with purpose, support, and the courage to defy oppressive traditions, one can overcome any obstacle. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please like and subscribe. It helps us grow our channel. See you in the next one. Bye.